And hello everybody, it's I, Heroscape, back alive once again after a little break. Main reason for the break was that I was busy editing my last video. Wanted to really get that done before I got very busy with all the reveals coming out. Yeah, Wolf Demon Wizards are already talking about it. I'm very excited. Expect some coverage. I'll be live streaming tomorrow night with Darkleaf and Spartan, very good friends of mine. So we'll be able to, cover both aesthetically and competitively those units. So tune in tomorrow night for that. And tonight we are painting some Ordo. We're gonna try to paint some Ordo. I'm probably just gonna talk about tomorrow, kind of pre-game show. But we're gonna be painting them to look like this. This is for an order requested by Shurig. If you're in the community, you know Shurig is a legendary map maker, and he wanted some awesome Ordo for Scapecut, so I'm getting him hooked up today. So yeah, I'm just getting kind of back in the swing of things. I've been in crazy editing mode for for a very long time. My last video I released, my historicals, I'd say probably had 120 hours of editing. It was the biggest video I've ever made. I enjoyed it. I loved every second of it, but it was a little intensive. But welcome, Tails. Prepping for tomorrow, so be lurking around. Hopefully, my dulcet tones will influence your your writing. All right. And custom scaper. Yes. Let it begin. Yeah. Probably not this stream, of course, but next stream I'm planning on painting your dragon as a live stream. Once I kind of have gotten my life in order and painting those Soulborgs tomorrow, is my tentative plan. Love your tones, bro. And we are using Vallejo metal color, which is a very great metallic. It's flows very well. It's like a ink almost. So if you're looking for some very smooth application for your metallics, definitely recommend trying them out. So what figure is everyone most excited about tomorrow? What's the one that isn't making you not able to sleep? I'm curious. Bears. We just need some beats. Battlestar Galactica. We have the trifecta. Recently switched to my phone as a camera as well. Hopefully the focus will be a bit better. It's tough. My cameras I use are very nice, but they are a little finicky on the autofocus. So it's tough to do in a live stream when you have to paint, talk, and monitor it all. So my whole goal is to upgrade to a new phone eventually and have even better quality. But for now, I think this is a lot better. Let's see, hoping for strong pirate unit to help that army. Yeah, I'm hoping that the Cthulhu Daddy, what's his name, Eel and Shoff or whatever, is going to be a pirate army booster. I really hope that he makes them more competitive, and I don't know how he's going to do that, but that's what I'm hoping. The problem with pirates is they work really good, but you just, if you ever play like an 800-point army, the pirates are great. An 800-point army where only uniques are allowed. That's where they shine, because you want Jim for that flexibility, and you want Widow to gain that pirate. And nowadays, you even want Crack and Thorman just for that heavy hitterness. But I think the pirates, the biggest problem with the pirates are the dreadnoughts are not for defense. They just go down too easy, and so they don't really fill a niche that's missing. We need like a tank like a tank of a unit for a pirate that just stays on the board. Because the problem is all the pirates just have movement and have attack. They really just need something to stay on the board and screen. Yeah, pirates is so pricey. You can even in Delta, it's just like it's tough. The problem with the pirates is if you whiff one time and you go in and go up and go with, like, let's say the knaves, and you don't kill one guy, the next order marker, they're just going to kill you and kill all your guys. So it's like, I really wish the Captain's Way gave them all an extra defense if they were within that amount of spaces of their pirates. It feels like they don't really need the range defense because they're so fast and speedy, but like once they get into melee, they don't have any options. But yeah, I'm hoping that guy is awesome and he's not just like another Zed Nesbit. I'm really interested to see the power sets for all these guys. I think the Vord snipers are going to make Zed Nesbit cracked based off nothing, but like I think Zed Nesbit is going to jump up like 3 tiers based off those guys. I think there's so many units. There's just so much. We have mech dragons down there just announced. I don't even know what to think for that. Yeah, it's gonna be wild. Buckle down. Whatever I know is just the chat is going to be. There's a mosquito trying to suck my precious blood. The chat is going to be hard to keep up with. My goal is to do a summary video of it all. It's going to be all anyone's talking about for a couple days, which is fun. I kind of like it as a content creator. It's nice to have some built-in content coming your way. It's wild we're getting like a new master set announced and we haven't even got like the releases for this year. It's financially, I don't know if I like it or not, because I just scrapped together enough to get a decent amount for the waves, at least to have one of everything so I can show it off and paint some things. But this master set is gonna that's assuming even if it is a master set. We could all be wrong. It could just be a bunch of smaller releases. I think we're going to get a tease for a new IP. I think that's going to be like, oh, 2027 Power Rangers. Be on the lookout for more details. I feel like they have one surprise up their sleeve. It's mesmerizing watching you paint. I still haven't quite pulled the trigger in my painting journey, but I have some paints. Well, Tongiht Days, if you ever want some help, feel free to reach out. I can help you out there. And welcome to the chat, by the way. I liked your last evaluation video with Ken. That was a good listen. Help me get some things cleaned up. So I always am happy when a Tongiht Days video is dropped. I'm like, oh cool, I get to be productive today because I have something to listen to. And on our metallics first, so we can easily cover up over those if we make any mistakes. I'm not talking much because I'm focusing on the bear here. The less paint I can get on this black area, the better, because he's gonna. Like, here's a Death Chaser inspired one. The more I can keep it black, the less layers I have to go back and fix up. So, be a little bit careful here. I personally like painting metallics over pure black if I know it's going to be mainly metallic. That way, if I miss any areas, it just naturally fills in the shadow. Honestly, lately I've just been liking painting more on just a pure black base and not using like zenithal or any other kind of methods. but just because the shadows are so much easier to manage. Glad you liked it. We've got part 2 with Ken in the works, but going to hold off until the dust settles from this big wave tomorrow. No one's going to care about Thorman's Thunder for... Yeah, that's the tough part. Is like it feels like you never get to care about the new stuff when you have it. Literally, like the last big release they had with the last con, I got my stuff in hand the day the con dropped. So I was like really scrambling because I wanted to do reviews, but also wanted to cover the new stuff, and it was just like, and also I had Gen Con coming up. So it was a busy time. It was too much stuff to do. But I mean, I'll never complain about having too much Scape. Even if I can't get it all at once. It's kind of, honestly, like, my honest opinion right now is that it's a lot all at once. I won't disagree with anyone that says that, but also I kind of like having something to work toward, or something to kind of pick up if I get a little extra cash in my pocket. Like, I was at a SASCon, and I won like $20 store credit from a raffle, which was pretty much the only thing I won at SASCon. And I was like, oh, I'll get a new set, but then I realized, oh wait, I already got my gallery swarms, and I got the acolytes, and I don't need any more heroes. So this is kind of like, there's not really much I need, and I have more than enough terrain. Although I might pick up another tall wall set, even though I already have 2, just because they're so cool. My next big video, I like to do like smaller videos for a while, then go switch to a big video. The next one I'm going to do is, how much terrain do I have? And the answer is a lot, but I'm want to make a little like vlog style video on that and build a map featuring all my terrain. Is my plans for it. And then maybe a sequel to that someday is, how long would it take to play with every unit you have? But that's a future one. Yeah, new Scape is a little pricey. I'm not gonna argue with anyone there on that. It's just a tad. I wish unpainted was less pricey. I think honestly, pre-painted isn't pricey enough. From like a resale market perspective, it's tough to sell when it's like, oh, you can just pay $30 more and get a decently painted box. Is like, for anyone complaining that pre-painted is too expensive, I'll just say that I can't even match those prices, and I'm pretty low in what I do. I try to keep it low for people, but it's like, but also it's kind of a thing, you know. It's like, this will look twice as good, so you have to really care about the quality type of deal. But Scape has never really been about the quality. For some reason, my little arm wants to tilt sideways. All right, there we go. I'm really excited to see what the little prairie dog does, cowboy guy, because then you just say get along, little doggy, which seems appropriate. I'm just really, if I'm being honest, I love all the new models. Like, the teased models are some of my favorite release so far. Like, I'm really looking forward to painting them and getting some applications on these guys. I feel like Age of Annihilation has cool models, but they weren't designed with someone wanting to paint them in mind. Sometimes there's just something, like the pirates, you know, just being overly detailed, or Thyraxis just being kind of cumbersome to fully paint. Like, it's nice that someone's kind of approaching this like, oh, people may want to actually paint these. Max out money I can justify putting into this stuff. Like you said, it's mostly when you win store credit somewhere. I want to put that new stuff, and the occasional impulse buy. I like having impulse buy money. You know, it's at the end of the day, life is hard. And if you have a, you know, I like it. I liked when it was at like 30, 35, because I could kind of leave the game store spending that much and be like, okay, cool, I'm supporting the game store. I got some new toys, but I'm not like, Once it starts approaching that $50 mark, you're a little bit like, this is, you know, you're starting to like, do I eat or do I play type of mentality. I said this on the Discord, but I would really love just for a new release model to happen, where pretty much we just get like a single common squad in a box for like 25, 30 bucks. That way I'm like, okay, cool, I need this and I'll just buy this. And I'm sure there's tons of reasons SKU wise and all that kind of stuff why it won't work out, but I feel like if I had a lot more like pocket money stuff I could buy, like I liked when they had the Hellforge. I bought a couple Hellforges just for giveaways and events and stuff like that. I was like, it's 20 bucks. That's not bad. I can keep a couple of those around. And they're a big model, they're satisfying to paint, but yeah, it's a little it's tough because I know it's largely beyond Renegade's control from at least my inside stuff and stuff I've heard. It's just being taxed kind of out of their wheelhouse. Welcome, Skateboard. What is good? Let's see. It's just good to be back in the swing of things on my end, at least. It's a busy couple weeks for me. Editing aside is just life is is always finding a way to creep in. I have 3 kids under 6 now, and so that keeps me pretty busy. What's the tool I'm using to hold this figure? This is a Citadel paint holder. This is a little fancy. I got this for like a birthday or Christmas. Typically what I use is a PVC pipe with some Gorilla sticky tack on the end of it. You just put it here and you can just put your model there and it costs you like $5. It's a lot cheaper and a lot easier, but this is a little bit nicer because it actually holds it in. I don't use it all the time though, because sometimes it does scratch up the sides of your base if you paint that. But it's just a mini holder. There's a lot of different varieties of it. And pretty much if you're painting, have some way to hold your mini. Because I can't tell you how many times I've held it like this and I've launched it out and it fell in my paint pile, or it fell on the ground, got a bunch of dust and hair on it. And you're also just able to like, I'm able to go around here really easily, just like paint that here. I have a lot more control of it in my hand. So I'd say this is one of the more essential tools you can get. Like, you can still paint without it, but the amount of hand cramping it saves you is worth its weight in gold. Just getting all the metal plating done. Metal's tough. I definitely would recommend never go cheap on metal. Metal paint. Try to get good quality. I'd recommend Pro Acryl or like the Vallejo metal color paint, just because cheaper quality metal paint will leave streaks. Metal paint pretty much achieves its metallic look because they mix in something called mica fragments into the paint. So cheaper paints are a little scant on the mica, and it just makes it kind of blotchy when you paint with it. Also, another good thing to use for metallics is speed paint metallics. They work very well. You want a little bit of brightness under them. You want to do pure black, but they're very smooth. I'm very impressed with like speed paint metallics. I have to actually get some more. I'm all out. Because again, they kind of operate more like an ink. I'm so glad to got that big video done. Lame, no Morrow, yeah. Morrow is on my list of videos to make. That's pinned probably next up on the list. Is I'm gonna do a deep dive into painting Morrow. I've been asked enough times how do I do this that I'm finally gonna write the script and commit to that one for sure. Script writing is really what stalls the process down. Is I cannot talk just freeform. Even when I do scripts, I get very nervous, and I think you've seen my videos. I kind of twitch a lot, which I have to edit around, which I'm working on. Yeah, I need I mean, you can all hear me in this chat. I start talking, and I forget what I'm talking about here. But no, yeah, that's the one I'm working on, or pin next. I'm taking a slight breather, and then I have all the new wave stuff. Have a good one, Doggin. I'll see you around. Still waking your Marco Show Rise. Yeah, that's when I'm gonna do a custom scaper stream. That will definitely be. I still haven't really fully figured out how I'm gonna do it, because the key part of a Morrow is lots of like deep crevices, and it's very smooth. So I'll have to be creative, which is hard. I love painting the Ordo so much more than the Frost Claws. There's just a lot more fur to work with, so you can do a lot more things with the light and color on it. Thank goodness. Again, like 5 Morrow prints here. I'm still too nervous to try painting this again. It's I think I'm just going to commit to it, and if it's not 100% great, then because I have a formula, but it's not like one I'm like 100%. It's still kind of touch and go. But I'm going to make a video about it, and maybe I'll be able to refine what I do in that process, actually put into words. But no, I've been asked by like 20 people at this point to make a video on that. So that and priming are my top 2 requested things. So I gotta get to work on those. The weather's warming up, which is nice. That makes it a lot easier on my end to be productive, because I work in my garage, and if it's 0 degrees outside, it's hard to edit. I will still edit or work on things, but then I'll get the cold and get very sick, which also happens. Be creative, Harvey. Yeah. That was slightly sarcastic. The problem is I have to tone it down. But no, yeah, I haven't figured it out, but I'll just wing it. I'll just go for it, and we'll see how it works. I can see the inside working. I probably will just not start from base 0 because it will take me a long time, and use my airbrush to at least get it to a point where I can do in stream. Okay, we're about good with these metallics. You notice I'm kind of working in assembly line fashion, just kind of taking a color, painting it all on the next one. That allows the previous figure to dry, and it saves a lot of time and paint, because your paint's still on the palette. You can just let this dry, and me being naturally impatient allows me to not just keep on working on things when they still need some airtime. Pretty happy with how this is looking so far. But the dragon's come along good. I did some preliminary airbrush layers on it, and yeah, I'm excited to get that one. I have to work on the fine details and stuff with that, but he's getting there. Let's get some warm brown for the little metallic plates. So yeah, I'm doing these guys as like Death Chasers. Death Chaser inspired. So here's kind of an example of a finished one. Or almost finished. I have some touch-ups to do. But kind of to go with Bernie here. So these are going to be evil, dark bears that like to battle rush. But welcome to chat either way. Yeah, we're just painting some bears. All right, so taking some warm brown from Pro Acryl. I really like this as a. It's just one of my favorite. I just like all Pro Acryl colors except their satin colors. They just have very good coverage. Let's not do that. There we go. Why are you doing this? Oh, that's why. He's got a little bit of sticky tack on him. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, these are actually for commissions someone asked me to paint for him. So hopefully they serve him well at ScapeCon. The problem is I'm painting for enough people at this point that I'm starting to get beat by my own paint jobs. I was at SaskCon and Alusha I painted beat me pretty nastily, and I just felt like my son betrayed me. The worst part about this model is this little area right here, kind of where the shoulders and the head piece kind of co-align. Do you have a? I don't think he has a strap. I think that's just. I like Pro Acryl because it requires a lot less layers and it just covers very well. But if you're just starting off painting, I wouldn't recommend using Pro Acryl. It's a little finicky. Finicky in the sense that it's very thick. It's a very thick paint, so you really have to know how it kind of works, and it's very matte. So satin kind of helps you out when you're just painting. It kind of gives you a little bit of grace. Like Army Painter is very, very satin, so it softens up some of the lights and stuff like that used. Honestly, if you're looking to get some new paints, Army Painter is probably, at least their War Paints line, is a very great place to start. Which I'm glad that they've teamed up with Heroscape to deliver their products. Aside from a potential tomorrow video, any plans on painting tutorials? Yeah, I have some plans. I'm going to be making like a little update video about it. My plan is to pretty much, my goal of this channel is to help people and have fun, and that's my primary goal. I'm not caring about making it big or any of that kind of stuff. So all my videos fall into the category of, is this big or does this help people? And I really want to focus more on helping people. So pretty much what I'm going to start doing is taking questions. It could be very specific or broad, like how do I prime, or how do you paint Biburxa? And pretty much try to answer one once a week as like a little quick video is my kind of next thing I'm hoping to launch. Let's see, but any other videos I have planned? How I kind of work is I kind of like do a lot of pre-production on a lot of videos, and I kind of see which one seems the most interesting to me, and then I kind of continue from there and finalize it. So the historical video I just finished was a really big project. Like honestly, that's why I haven't been doing a lot. It's taken me about 3 months to get that all done, from start to finish, from printing and painting the figures to writing scripts and all that kind of stuff. So that has cleared up a lot of mental and computer space for me to get things done. Next in the cycle will probably be a figure tutorial. So I have the Kraken video mostly finished, at least the primary shooting. So I'll probably finish that one just as a quick little painting tutorial. Then I'd like to do specific, broad, then kind of more aesthetic or different kind of videos, usually my cadence. So lost my train of thought. So Next video will probably be the Kraken video, and then I want to do one on priming, just the ins and outs of priming, what primer to use, how to use it, best methods for doing so, and because I get asked about priming so much. And then probably do another ranking my own paint job video, just because I have that one all shot. I can just get that one finished. But then after that, yeah, I would like to start just answering some more specific questions for figures. Like your video about possible historical figures. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, that was a really fun one to make. It was more of a history lesson than a video, but I loved it. Yeah, I was definitely trying to listen to the community on that one. They gave me a lot of inspiration. I probably will have to make a sequel to that one because people keep on suggesting new good ideas. So I'll keep that in the back of my mind. But James, what video would you like to see? What's one you're looking for? Because if it doesn't have to be the one I listed either, because if I know it's going to directly help someone or something someone's interested in, it does motivate me to get across the finish line a lot easier. Stream has been excellent. We got great people, great paint. You know, vibe's pretty good tonight. Cannot complain. Welcome, Johnny, by the way. Last stream we had Joe Crazy on. That was a really fun one too. I was going to have Warpig, another painter, come on, but our schedules didn't kind of line up. Want to see my opinion about paint schemes of the HS 2025 releases? Oh, what was released in 2025? I don't even... Ooh, Granite Guardians. That's a very easy tutorial. I could do that one very fast. So that's a good one. I haven't done a classic video in so long because I've just been so busy with new stuff. It'd be nice to go back and do a classic one that isn't too hard to do. I'll put that on the pin board. Yeah, they're very easy. Yeah, the Granite Guardians are. I can knock out 30 of them in an hour. It's all dry brushing is what it comes down to. It's just a dark gray base, so if you can get a dark gray primer, prime them all that, use a light gray, dry brush it over, and then just paint the little moss spots on them, and that's really, and then put a little thin wash if you really want to, and that's about it. Like that's, granites are easy, but that's a problem. My wife says I overcomplicate everything, so maybe a nice, easy video would be a good palette cleanser for me. Oh, but that's fine. You can still just paint them gray. Just takes a little bit longer. I really love the warmness of this brown. It just really, I think, just complements these colors really well. Let's see here. Yeah, but they're still, regardless, are pretty easy. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I've returned. Okay, so here's a granite garden. I primed them gray, and essentially what you're just going to want to do is get like a off-white gray, light gray, something even like this, like an ash gray, and you're gonna put that on a dry palette. Now, a dry brush is just a brush with a fluffy tip on it. You can use makeup brushes or you can buy them at the store. And it helps if you just have a tiny bit of moisture, but the key thing is that you want it mainly dry. Then you're going to get a paper towel or a texture palette and just dry brush these guys real fast. And pretty much dry brushing, you go against the texture and the paint will catch on the raised surfaces, but not in the shadows. And there you go. Then if you want to, you can get a black wash and just put that onto it and then just paint the little parts green. And that's pretty much all you got to do. Also got a printed squad of obsidian gars from Trexie, and they came in transparent red color like the crustaceans. Any thoughts on how to tackle those? Now that's a little bit harder. You'll want to get the easiest way is to use some speed paint and very thin it down, like some dark red speed paint, and just put it over it just to give it a little bit of that translucence and shading. And then just paint the bits orange is what I would recommend. I had a paint explosion last night while painting. Kraken was trying to get tainted gold from the squeeze bottle, and way more came out than intended. You're part of the club now. Yeah, that is that's a rite of passage where yeah, I've done that more times than I want. I carry around like a paper clip or a needle now, so you should never press up against it. But I mean, everyone's got to do that at least once. There's two things every painter has done, and that's tip over a paint of shade from Citadel, spilling on their table, and squeezing like army painter bottles too hard where they just all explode. So one of us. Crackling was saved, very little got in the figure, and was able to cover it easily. That happened to me one time actually recently. I was kind of tired. I was just painting some frost claws. I was squeezing. Actually, it wasn't frost claws, but my frost claws like right here drying, and I started working on one of like the pirates, so I just squeezed them right out, and it just blew up all over my white furred frost claw, which was sad. It took a very long time to fix. And by very long time, it means I had to strip it completely and start over. Get over the anxiety and try to tackle those Granite Guardians this weekend. Yeah, no, they're super easy. Just the hardest part for you is going to be the gray. You're just going to get a dark gray, like a dark neutral gray, and paint all those. But then once you kind of get that basic layer done, you just dry brush it, shade, and paint the little detailed bits. Been painting my bears because white fur is the bane of my existence. I suppose tonight I'll work on them alongside you though. Yes, I welcome the painting company. Yeah, white is a pain. The key to good white fur and paint is to use white as little as possible. If you start white straight from the bottle, it's just going to appear chalky and not cover your entire model. Honestly, well, there's two methods to do white. That's the classic method, which I'm describing here, is to work in like light tans and pretty much just use white as like the final dry brush highlight. It'll make the white pop a lot more, and because it'll catch on to the raised surfaces. Because once you get full white, there's not much more you can do with it in terms of highlights and different colors. Or you can do kind of the opposite and just prime it white and put some like white speed paint or some gray wash on it, and just have it be that, and then just kind of go over it with a white dry brush after that. That's the faster method, and honestly, sometimes it looks better than the standard method. But painting white is always a pain in the butt. It's just, you either got to be extremely patient or extremely patient if you want to do it kind of classically. All right, we're using some dark camo green for the pants. No, it's not going to be as good as most. For me, it's just finding time. That's the hardest part about painting, is finding the time. It's really not, it's not even about your quality compared to other people. It's just, do I have time to even do this? Because there's some things where, like, I could do this better if I wanted to, but it's going to take, 10 more hours to do it. So I think it helps to set your standards. I always try to do big heroes a little bit more as like showpieces, but like squads, they don't get as much love. Especially common squads. Unique squads get a little bit more love, but common squads, they're I just get them done. I was running out of steam painting like all my gallery. I think I did a stream one time where I was just like, what color should I paint this? All right, done. That's where Fleshfish was born, my nemesis. Yeah, white is definitely a learning curve, though. So, I mean, everyone has their own method of doing it, though. It also kind of depends on what your base is. If you're starting from black, painting it white is a process. But some say it's better that way because you're able to control pretty much the entire process of layering it up. With each shade, because white paint is inherently transparent. All paint is, to varying degrees. Typically your darker colors, like your blues and greens, are less so. But like, see, there's not a lot of skin showing through. But you take something like, like a yellow, which is one of the harder colors to paint because it's so thin. And kind of the same amount of moisture. It's just inherently more see-through. Oh, started from black? Yeah, it's a bit tougher. That's a lot of layers, but honestly, if you ever start from black, you can go gray, and then that gives you like a gray, and then do a white dry brush, and that saves you a lot of time as well. It's a little bit of a shortcut. But I'm sure it turned out fine. The thing is, even if a painting doesn't turn out how you like it, there is just still benefit from learning, which I always try to encourage people, like, even though it's not up to you the standards you like, you learn something, which in of itself is valuable. I am by no means a master painter, and I try to make as many mistakes as possible. So I have my 3D printer. I have a whole bunch of things where I'm not a they don't look too good, but I'm sure yours turned out great. Yeah, speed paints are great. Yellow is terrible. Painting the iron liches and all that stuff has been a pain. Yeah, speed paint is really the only way to use yellow paint. I would only recommend using standard yellow contrast if you're looking at just touch up or for some different methods. But just use contrast yellow. It's better in every possible way. They turned out I can live with that. Well, you know what? That's better than most Heroscape pieces. So you're already there. That's why I'm constantly encouraged by painting Heroscape, because I look at like the classic run of stuff and I'm like, You know what? Even on my worst days, still better than 90% of the stuff out there. Heroscape classic models aren't greatly painted, but they are cozily and nostalgically painted. Like, I wouldn't change them anyway, but I do. I mean, they're not showstopper paint jobs. All right, this is how we're looking. We're getting there. Both excited and dreading April releases. I have 3 Chain Red boxes and 4 Ranhawk Viper boxes in order. Up to now, I've only been painting 1 box at a time. Yeah, that's where I'm at now too. I pretty much have been in this phase where I'm like, oh, I don't really have much I need to paint. I've painted all my models. I'm at pretty much 100% completion or 99% completion of my models, and at least the ones I want to play with for myself. I have some I'm still keeping on for just tutorials and stuff like that, but now I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to spend so much time just painting G.I. Joe, and then just painting the classic stuff, and yeah, no, but as Johnny's saying, I am also getting excited to have some new stuff to work on. There's some models I'm really looking forward to having. I'm complaining, but I'm also like, I really can't wait. Like, I'm on the edge of I'm checking the calendar every day. So I'm a man of contradictions constantly. But it's like, oh man. Well, it's tough because this wave is nothing but commons, which I'm not like a fan of painting commons as much. I'd rather paint one guy really, really, really good. It's been a long time on one guy than have to paint 20 guys all right. But I am looking forward to painting the bugs, I must admit, even though I'll have to paint like 20. I'm not looking forward to painting the Reavers, even though I love their art styles and their models. I just am worried about losing all those arms in the process. %, of my renegade escape purchases have been pre-painted, but with the price hikes and con boxes, it was significant savings going on. Yeah, I agree with that. I used to actually, in the AOA beginning run, I was so excited, and I had saved up, for 2 years, all my money to buy it. So I really went overboard. I bought like 3 master sets and the painted and unpainted. And then eventually I reached this point where I was like, I don't need all this stuff. This is just taking up room in my house. So I sold all my pre-painted. Sold my extra master sets, at least the figures. I kept the terrain, and so I won't be as excited this go around, presumably. I do like the mushrooms, so you never know. I'm hoping they have a mushroom terrain pack. But yeah, now I don't even look at the pre-painted. I did buy 1 pre-painted box just of lava crabs, just because I wanted 1 translucent, just for nostalgia. But other than that, yeah, we'll be holding back a bit. I'm really looking forward to getting some paint on those models, though. All the new stuff. I think the new figure I'm most excited to paint, at least that's coming out this wave, is Thorman. I really want to do a good job on Thorman, just because he's pretty cool of a figure, and I like playing Thorman. People are all back and forth on him, but I really like his kit, even though it's wonky and awkward. But I would describe myself the same way, so. I was sad. I was trying to make it to Hexacon, but it just didn't work out this year. Right, look, next year I'm definitely going to Hexacon. They have such wonky formats. Alright, so we are going to get some blue-black here. And we're going to start layering up this black fur. Black fur, or just black like cloth and fabric in general, is very tough because you want to have a bit of distinction. Like here, this looks good, but it's relatively flat. There's not a lot of dimension to this. So we're gonna add some subtle highlights and then kind of tone them back down. We're taking some blue black and we're removing a good amount, but we're gonna do a pretty heavy coverage on this. You can kind of highlight black anyway. You can use standard gray, but I find standard gray just to be a little bit too boring. I like having a little bit of personality in it. Honestly, probably should have done this part first, so as not to get it on my other paints, but we'll be okay. People always, at least online, try to discount dry brushing. Dry brushing is a great tool to have in your kit. It's a great way to easily blend colors or create highlights, and never be ashamed to use dry brushing. Just be aware that it does create a bit of texture on your model, but me as a painter, I like having a bit of rough and sketch kind of as part of my painting process. So you notice how there's just a subtle color on him that will translate very well. And dry brushing is just like standard painting. You can do multiple passes to brighten up the colors even more. Yeah, if you're doing this yourself, definitely do this first. I did this in order, but I'll fix it up. Sometimes I get excited to paint a color, and I don't think, oh wait, I should analyze this a bit more. Okay, so at this point, these guys are pretty effectively base coated. We gotta get the colors and the immediate shading we want to do before we start applying some washes. I'm gonna go through, just make sure I didn't miss anything, and touch up some of those overbrush I did. I will say though, I am glad the pre-painted is looking better. The master set pre-paints were a little rough. Like especially the bears. I think the bears were the worst painted of the bunch. But honestly, they're looking pretty good now. Keep on hitting my camera, I apologize. My Bach Burna still makes me a bit sad. Morrow are rough, because even in Classicscape, there was no consistency. That makes it kind of hard, because when someone says, I want to make a Morrow, I'm like, what version of Morrow? Do you want like the Drudge, the Drones, Subakna? Like, they all have different shading, ever so slightly. But yeah, I gotta make that Morrow video. I think I'm confident enough in my technique. And it's not something I can just kind of explain on a live stream. I kind of need to, because there's a couple different methods. There's not just one method to get it done. The best way to achieve their look is with oil washes. But oil washes have kind of their own host of problems. Mainly that they're slightly more toxic than acrylics, damage your brushes, and they're just kind of a mess. But if you can get them going, they're what's called a reductive wash. So they don't dry and they settle in all the cracks, and you just wipe off the excess. So because the hardest part about Morrow is having the top layer kind of bright and off-white, while still having the cracks filled with Morrowy sinew. Oh yeah, the pre-painted Blackburn is pretty abysmal. Yeah. That's if anything, that's encouragement to you. You can't do worse than the pre-painted Blackburn. The problem with Morrow is that they are neither skin tone nor muscle tone, nor are they bone tone. They're somehow like right in the middle of all three, because they don't have the pinkiness of the skin, and they don't have like the structure of muscles, or the kind of the pinkness of muscles. But they're not bone either. You can't paint it like just bone colored, because they're not skeletal either. I think I could say this. They Renegade, well, actually Lee reached out to me and was asking for some advice on Morrow colors, but they didn't say at the time what the colors were for. So I assume it's for the big shrimp lady that's going to be talked about. City compliment. Christmas Tuck. Paint job back in December was a huge confidence boost for someone who's been doing the hobby for around a year and a half, mostly self-taught. Oh, I'm glad I helped you out. I never talk falsely, but I also will never like criticize anyone's work unless they directly ask for it. Those are kind of my two rules of painting. If someone says this looks good, I'll say it looks good, because it's every paint job looks good that's finished. The only bad paint job is one that's not done. But no, I'm glad that helped you out. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I remember it now. It's I really like the colors you used. Okay, let's use a little bit of green for his little backpack area. I'm not hoping for Newscape anytime soon, but if they do a new batch, it'd be awesome to see Morrow get some more love in the new age. Yeah, I mean, everyone loves it. It's an easy win. Like, we need some new Morrow, I think, in this new age. Just like one more squad, I think would be really good. I think Morrow have had their time in the spotlight. I don't think we need to do nothing but Morrow like we were doing for a bit. But I mean, Morrow is probably the most iconic thing about Heroscape. Like, you can't just ignore them. A new Morrow Warlord would be crazy. I had a dream last night of a new Morrow hero. Actually, it was so like clear in my mind. I wrote it down. It was like this weird, kind of like, imagine like a Nigaxa type figure. He has like a big kind of like drill claw hand, but he's like a scientist. He's one of the gene splicers for the Morrow, and he just had this ability just to turn any unique hero in your army into a Morrow. And I haven't had time to look into it more. Like, what fun things can happen if you can just create a Morrow in your army? But it was like, wow, I'm dreaming about Heroscape. I need a life. Kairi Morrow is definitely high on my list. I really want to see it. It's the obvious choice. So we like don't have a flying Morrow squad, and that feels weird. And the only flying Morrow unit we have is like on a big dragon that like, it's entirely separate from a, like just a Morrow unit that can fly would be great. Yeah, like a gene splicing Morrow sounds really fun. I don't know what would break if you could change, because we've never had the ability to change species before. I could also see something going to like another Eisenek, that you make them Eisenek, which I think would be a lot more potent, because the Eisenek synergy chain is a lot more impactful than, because really Morrow is designed to be swarm units for the most part. There's not a lot of in-house synergy. Flying Morrow's Nightmare Fury, yeah. Something that has like War Witch or Overlord bonding, I would love. Or just Morrow, like smaller, medium Morrow hero bonding, so even Bokburna can get some love. I wish, my biggest regret for Bokburna is I just wish that his aura affected both Morrow and Pirates, because then he would get so much more play. I guess lore-wise doesn't fully make sense, but I really like Bokburna, but he needs a little bit of help. Flying Nagrubs. I'm a beautiful Nagrub butterfly. I'd buy it. That'd be scary. I would not want to encounter that in a dark, swampy forest. I do like the Nagrubs. They're just little guys. For some reason with Nagrubs, I have a better like attack roll rate than I do with like things that have like 6-7 attack. Okay, let's get a little bit of light on these lenses here after I fix my mistakes. And unique hero Morrow pre-net lag of running days with bolts of Witherwood. I would like that. I mean, at the end of the day, that's just a 5% increase. You know, it's not like broken, but any chance to make Atlaga one-shot people, I'm down for. I'm always so nervous when Atlaga's like on the board, and it's because it's always when I have like a king build. It's like, I know you're just gonna like ruin my whole army. I was doing a wonky Thorman build against Atlaga, and like at an online tournament, and I think the dice was like 1 off from insta killing me and ruining my whole army, because there's just no counterplay to it. The only counterplay is don't die. I don't know how I feel about the new elites. I like them conceptually, but they just seem too finicky for me to ever want to play. Yeah, that's the problem with that Laga, is even when you win, you do feel a little like, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Never bring that Laga out against new players, because they might not come back. And that's the thing, is even if that Laga misses, he still just hits like a truck. Because he's using attack at like 5, because he has height. Alright, we are getting there slowly but surely. Don't call me Shirley. Let's get a nicer green going on here. Alright, so we're going to get some dark yellow green. And just mix this with a little bits of this camo green. And we're going to probably just show everyone what I'm doing. And then just kind of thin it down, kind of spread it out from the pile. And there we go. He had Mind Flayer Mastermind still at Laga for a turn and one shot another hero. It's not about winning, it's about hype moments. Yeah, I don't care if I win, it's about how I make myself lose. Yeah, any unit that can take over or control is I'm always gravitated to. I've been experimenting with this weird Deflectatron Mind Flayer build, because they can attack and don't need line of sight, but it's never been good. But it's kind of fun for my kitchen tabletop games, I really like Mindbender. I think he's probably my favorite new G.I. Joe unit. Everyone's kind of dissing him, but I've had so much fun playing him. He's a great utility piece with lots of survivability. And he can literally ruin your day if you take over someone's hero. With a 13, it's so easy to do. That's the biggest problem with G.I. Joe, is it's all kind of good and fun, so I can't just ignore it. I gotta get it and play it now. But my dad's excited. He's a really big G.I. Joe guy, so he's gonna like leap for joy when I bring out Snake Eyes on the table. So we're going to get now a desert yellow from Army Painter. I'm going to mix this with our warm brown. Create some off tones for this leather. We're going to switch to more of a detail brush here. This is a size O Rosemary & Co. Sable. I really like this for doing fine details. I almost quit after Deadeye Dan took out both my Braxis and Spider-Man in the same round. That's one of my favorite Heroscape moments, is he's never going to be that good again. Yeah, that Deadeye Dan had his time in the sun. Everyone has. That's the thing about Deadeye Dan, is everyone has a Deadeye Dan story. G.I. Joe will be a good avenue to invite new people into the game, so I'm all for it. Yeah, I was kind of against it at first, but I've warmed up to it. I don't like how canonical it is. That's really the only downside I have about it. But like everyone says, the lore is not really important to the game. It's just important for us nerds who really care too much about the game. So what we're doing is doing a little bit of stippling here. We're taking the tip of our brush and we're using like a small dot pattern just to simulate some wear and tear on these straps here. We're also kind of just doing the edges to catch some of that light, further define the structure here. Only one Did I Dance story, yeah. Just one. You're all allowed to have one. You know, people first Heroscape purchased the Marvel set. Yeah, the Marvel set. That was also my dad's favorite one to buy. I think that's why he started playing with me. And that was before. The Marvel's biggest problem was it came out just a bit before, like, Marvel became as ubiquitous as it is. It was like 2 years too early. I'm not talking too much. I'm just gonna focus on some small details here. All right, so we're just kind of sketching out some rough texture, and we're trying to get a little bit brighter because we're going to be toning this down. I'm actually just going to go to that pure ochre now and just add some small bits of scratches. My tip isn't very fine on this brush. I think it's reaching the end of its life. But it's good enough for what we're doing today. Okay, and then we are going to get some other colors, if I can find them. So we're going to get some transparent brown, and we are going to dilute this and layer this over what we just did here, just to really seal in these flavors, these colors, is what I was going to say. So to thin paint, you typically want to put a bit of water and pour it away from the main pile. And then you can kind of take the excess there. It's probably a little bit too thin. There you go. So what we're doing now is called blending. Pretty much I'm making these colors appear not as sharp and contrasted, and kind of adding a very transparent layer to kind of bind them together. What do I generally do with my old brushes once they've gotten unsuitable for miniature painting? I keep them in the hopes that I will use them. But no, it depends on the level of severity. Because you can always use old brushes for mixing paint, or you can use them for just slapdash jobs. Because I like to think of brushes as kind of like weapons from Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda game, is that they all have a lifeline, and some have more lifeline than others. Like, I don't know why I still have this one. This one got super glue on it. It's a cheap brush I used to mix some glue a while back. I should probably get rid of this one. Like, this isn't usable at all. But then you have... Let's see if I can find a brush nearby that has seen better days. But then you could have a brush like this. It doesn't have a very fine tip. It's spread. You can use this as like remedial dry brushing. You can mix paint with this. You can even put some big base layers on if you don't mind just too much. So it kind of depends on the life of the brush, but you know, if it's still got a little bit of heft to it, you can always convert it to a dry brush. Like that's at the end of the day, something like this, great dry brush on more of a smaller level. Like you can kind of take this. And now I have a little bit more control over it. But yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. But eventually you should get to a point where, like, all right, this isn't even useful as a dry brush, and you just toss it. But it's very important to take good care of your brush. It's taken me a long time to learn that. I'm still learning it. Is invest in some brush soap. You should get a little thing of brush soap and something like this you can get. And when you're done with your brushes, you just clean them out, rinse them out, and it extends the life of your brush. That's probably a whole video into itself, is keeping your brush alive a lot longer. Brush, like using things like metallics as well as washes are very destructive to your brush. So that's another thing you can use for old brushes or for metallics and washes, because they instinctively want to go to what's called the ferrule of your brush. That's pretty much the part where the brush hairs connect with the metal tip. And once paint gets in there, your brush's lifespan starts to go out because it's no longer able to maintain a point. And so keeping paint out of there is the most essential thing. Like you should never just be doing this with your brush right here, just like, you know, it's because look, the paint got here and it's just gonna break down the glue and break down the connection, holding these staple hairs in. But if you catch in time, you may be able to save it. Yeah. My bad habit is I lick my brushes to reform the points. Don't do that. Be better than me. So you're just eating paint at that point. All right, so we're gonna get some burnt red going on here. Dish soap is a great tool as well, yeah. Soap is soap at the end of the day. Yeah, it's like $3 or $4 usually at the store. It's not expensive, but it's nice to have something dedicated. Brush soap is specifically nice because it helps reshape your brush as well as just clean it out. And it's more designed specifically to counteract acrylics, whereas dish soap is more just kind of grease. And so they have different designs. They can serve similar functions. What I like to do is, like, during the course of painting, use brush soap and clean them all out, and then use dish soap and really rinse them out. I want to get my hands kind of gross here for a second. This is the best $10 you can buy in painting. This goes at the end of your paint pot right here. It's a little brush scrubby. I forget the name of it. It's a scrub game. It's a scrub thing from Game Envy. You put it in the bottom, and it deep cleans your brush when you clean it out. So it's just like a little plastic thing that collects the stray paint. This has extended the life of my brush like 5-fold. So I definitely recommend that. Okay. So I'm going to take this. And then it's a burnt red right there. And let's get the teeth going. We are going to use... We want the bracelet for these teeth to be. We're going to use a brown gray for these teeth starting off, and we're going to work our way to a nice cream. Where'd you get the inspiration for the green on the Ordos? If you notice one of the Death Chasers, one of their pants or cloth is green, so I just kind of carry that element over. And it also kind of just matches the colors. It's subtle, so it doesn't stand out too much. It's... I'm just pulling it up here. The one with the green cape is kind of where I'm getting that inspiration from. I kind of like that color. The grays don't match as well with the blacks on the paint I'm using, so I wanted just a bit of contrast for the model. Oh yeah, totally, Johnny Lamb, you're welcome. Just check out Brush Scrubby from Game Envy, and it's a worthwhile purchase for sure. What do I want to do next here? I think we are... Do we want to keep on doing things, or do we want to wash this? Let's keep on doing some things. We'll do this for an hour and a half. Yeah, I got a little bit more steam left. Alright, so I'm going to switch to a more of a shining silver. The one downside for the Vallejo metal colors is they don't have a lot of substance to them, for lack of a better word. Like, they flow very easily, so they're hard to like dry brush and do things like that. So we're gonna get just a little bit of that, and we're gonna mix that with that dark gray we've been using. And we're just gonna kind of add just some outlines to some of these bits and pieces here. Just subtle, just to kind of make it catch the eye a bit more. Oh, I'm not going to just dry brush this. I kind of want more of a rough look for it. Careful to avoid our previous things. And we don't want it too heavy because I still want this to feel like very dark metal. And when we put a wash over this, this will tone it down to make it a little bit more a little bit more blended. Okay, just clean some things up here. Okay. Now let's wash it up. Are these Ordo commission? Will these be yours of the scheme so far? These are commissioned for username Shurig, expert map maker. I'm sure you've played competitive vol, you've played on one of their maps at least once. I gotta have Shurig on the channel sometime because I make aesthetic maps. My maps look pretty, but they are not functional. So I would love some more insight onto that. We're actually going to get this junky brush we have on hand, and all I have available right now is Army Painter Wash. It's not the best wash, but it does serve the purpose. Army Painter Wash is unique in the fact that it is very dense, so it will shade your models a lot more. So if you're using Army Painter Wash, kind of keep that in mind. Typically you want to apply your layers and then wash it and then go back over it. But it's also nice because it blends a lot better. I'm applying this wash right here. To really, I gotta do these teeth separately. I kind of forgot I was doing those first. Honestly, I already thought I did them. That slight blue we offered just gives us a lot of just enough contrast so we don't look all muddy and blotchy. And also allows that black wash when it settles in to actually provide the necessary contrast. The key to making your figure good is contrast. The more you can separate two different things, the better your model will look. Whether that's colors or whether that's lights and darks, you're always looking for ways to create contrast. If you find your figure is lacking, it's most likely because there's not enough contrast someplace. Like observe even something like the Maro Nagrub. This thing works because it has a contrasting green head with a very light body. And then it further contrasts that because you have these very light areas filled in with shadow of the wash. So you're working with 2 points of contrast here. Then you also have just a visual design of the model where this curve creates a bit of, if this was just a very straight model, it doesn't attract your eyes. It gives something for your eyes to follow. So those are kind of the three factors that really affect the noticeability of models: is form, as well as color, as well as light. Same goes in reverse. If this was too dark and too muddy, then there's no contrast via light, and it just looks like a big blotchy mess. This right here is tough because the wash likes to pool up on this little out rest paint right there. Is that why contrast paints are so popular? Part of the reason, yes. One of the reasons is they're very fast, but they are able to very quickly create this contrast between lights and darks. Essentially, contrast paints work is that it fills in the shadows automatically with darker tone and fills in the brighter areas with brighter tone, just because of there's so much flow aid in the contrast paint that the brighter areas appear brighter when you apply it. So it's a very, very fast and easy way to get contrast. And they're a great tool to have. I don't use them a lot just because I just use a different method, but even like I was using contrast paints, you know, here for my you know, leather and stuff like that, just to blend down. There's a lot of tools for contrast paints. We're just trying to suck up some pulling if it happens, where it just gets too kind of like doesn't flow down to where I want it to. It creates this ugly dark pool. You just take your brush, a little bit of moisture, and it'll just kind of suck it up back up into the brush, which is nice. It gives you a little bit of leeway when you're working with this kind of stuff. Are there any new Heroscape models that would be great for just contrast paints? Newer Oldscape, contrast speed paint. Let's see here. Most Heroscape things are pretty good. I'm trying to think. So things like pretty much things with lots of tiny details aren't good for speed paints. At least for a broad speed paint application, because the paint flows so much that you can't do micro details too much with speed paint. I mean, you can do anything if you try hard enough, but for the most part, heavily detailed models don't work great. Or models with lots of flat surfaces. Things like the Iron Lich struggle because it's a lot of flat panels. Things, however, like with lots of creases and texture work great. You can do probably anything with fur is great with contrast speed paints. You want to paint any of the dry-ins are great. A lot of things with texture. Hellforge is a great one. In terms of classic, kind of your simple colored units like Vipers are very great. I'm trying to just go off my head. Pretty much anything with clearly defined areas that you're able to like fill stuff in. Let's see, do I got something I can spare here? Like things like the Crackling, this was all painted with contrast paint right here. He's not done yet. Let's see if I got anything in my bucket of goodies that could be worthwhile that I don't want to paint myself for a video. You could also just use contrast paint as a broad base layer and then paint over it. People think that once you apply the contrast paint, it's done, but you can also put washes and additional layers. Oh, here we got an on-shoe. I got a dozen on-shoes, so painted purely white for just maximum ease of contrast. And what color should I paint them? Do we want a purple on shoe? Pink. I don't have a pink speed paint. I have green. I'm going to use green. Okay, that was a vortex mixer for anyone wondering. If you want to save your wrist a bit of hassle, you can get one of these for like $30, and it shakes your paint. Fleshy, chat. I don't want to paint on shoe fleshy, but I could. Flesh shoe. All right, fine. I'm gonna paint a tiny bit of it fleshy and then cover it up. But I think green will look better, so I'm gonna go green. I lied. All right, so bless you. Good night, good luck tomorrow. Tomorrow's like election day. It's a big day. All right, so since this is purely white, there's nothing. You know, we're gonna get maximum color showing through, and notice how, since it flows so much, it just goes into the crevices. He's becoming the Duolingo owl at this point, which is fine. I think Tysol made a version like that. So notice how it kind of flows down like that. So if you have like lots of details, it's not going to work too well. But since this is like all one color, clearly defined spots, the thing that most people get wrong about speed paints is you want to put it on pretty thick and spread it around. Don't like thin your brushes, and you want to just keep a little bit of moisture on your brush, but you don't want to mix too much water into it, and apply it on thick so it flows down like so. That's the one mistake I see people make the most, is just putting it on too thin. Any preferred paint for Vipers? I use more acrylics, but this is Shamrock Green, which I think would look really good on Vipers. I think it'd be close enough for Heroscape, but okay, so this whole layer, complete with some residual shadow and shading, took me like 2 minutes. You know, so it's a great tool for things like this. Things with a lot of just built-in texture and single colors work wonderful for this. Then typically what you would want to do is let this dry and then put another color over this. It's the hardest part about speed paints is that it's speed application, but it does take a while for it to dry, and if you jump the gun too fast, it'll start blending the colors and making it a little bit too muddy. Like here, see all these colors are together. It doesn't look as good because it's reading the color behind it, which is green. So the only way to fix that is wait for it to dry and then repaint that area white, typically. Also, you can use speed paint in small portions. You don't have to do the entire thing in speed paint. Like flesh tone works really great for speed paint. Just paint it white and then paint this over it, and you get very good looking faces. That's probably what I should do too, is how to have fun with speed paint. That'd be a good video idea. Alright, so not spending a whole lot of time on this, but you want to get some color on a model. You're not going to win like any competitions per se, unless you're like, you know, do some different techniques alongside the speed paint. But I mean, you do this, you touch up some details, and you got a cool model on the board in, you know, 5 minutes. And this flesh tone definitely is not a good color to go along with it. There you go. So fast and easy. Starting off, I definitely recommend just doing a pure white spray paint. And yeah, this was and of course once this dries, you can put a black wash over it, and then you can take some acrylics and start adding your own highlights and touching up as much as you want. Or I mean, I would use better colors, but if this is all you want to do, that works great as well. You can also kind of layer it with speed paints. Add a couple more layers for just a bit more coverage. Kind of make some areas darker, so it adds a little bit of natural shading, more so than typical. And then if you're really crazy, you can wait for this to dry brush it white again, and then go for a lighter color, and you get this really nice two-toned speed paint application. So it looks like you're like a blending master when you do that, if you do it right. But yeah, so very easy. Definitely recommend it if you want to get some things done fast and want to feel some sense of accomplishment. And there's a lot of things you can do with it. And you can use it for blending for a little bit. So let's say I want this here just to have a bit more punch to it. You can use it over an existing color, but I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to get rid of that. Thin it down. So I kind of blended some colors there. But yeah, speed painting is a great tool. And so let's say you don't want to worry too much about these little parts on your Granite Guardian. I mean, you can just get some white. That's sort of too long to do that. But you would just get some white, paint them on these guys, and just put a little bit of speed paint on them, and that's done super fast. The nice part about that is they'll look almost kind of a lot more shiny than you typically would if you just layered up paint. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out. These guys, I think we made a lot of progress on. I just gotta like fine details like teeth and laser eyes and stuff like that to work on. But for the most part, if you do this, with all these steps, you can have a cool looking bear of your own. Not very hard. It took an hour and a half to get these guys done. And that's with me talking. But I don't want to talk and do teeth. That's a lot of work. So I think I'm going to call it for tonight. I'm pretty happy with the progress we made. We got a big day tomorrow. So expect some live coverage tomorrow evening with some good friends of mine, Spartan and Darkleaf. We're going to go over all the units, and I'm sure they'll talk a little bit about Hexacon as well, as they're there and I am not. And yeah. As always, we got things cooking. There's always things cooking here in the Rogue Cave. So stay tuned for more stuff. I just got a shipment from Renegade, so I will be doing some reviews of the new units pretty soon as well. So be on the lookout for that. I also got the Decker paint set. I want to make a video on how to paint Decker using that set. So lots of the great things. We're out of our kind of winter solstice, and now we're back in production mode. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.